Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Daily Easy English Talk. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let's dive into something I think everyone experiences. Those moments where you can't quite hear what someone's saying.
Oh, absolutely. Happens all the time, right? Could be background noise. Maybe they're a soft talker. Or sometimes, your mind just drifts for a second.
Exactly. And you need them to speak up, but, well, you want to be polite about it. You don't want things to get awkward.
Right. There's definitely a bit of finesse involved. Get it wrong, and you might miss key info. Or, maybe worse, make the other person kind of self-conscious.
Yeah, like you're implying they did something wrong just by speaking.
So what we're digging into here is the idea that there isn't just one magic phrase. Having a few different polite ways to ask is, well, really useful.
That makes sense. Communication isn't, one size fits all. The best way to ask probably changes depending on, where you are, who you're with.
And even why you couldn't hear them in the first place. Was it noise? Did you just miss it? Knowing that helps you pick the right tool, so to speak.
It lets you tailor things, makes the whole interaction smoother. Okay, so let's talk specifics. What are some of these polite options?
All right, so one approach, a really gentle one, is something like, I'm sorry I can't hear you very well. Could you speak up a bit?
Okay, I like that. I'm sorry I can't hear you. What's the thinking there?
Well, it's clever because it subtly frames it as your issue, or maybe the environment's issue. It's not saying you're too quiet. It's saying, I'm having trouble hearing.
So it kind of takes the blame off them immediately.
Yeah.
Disarms the potential awkwardness.
Exactly. You might use that if you're, say, in a slightly more formal situation, or maybe if you're not quite sure why you couldn't hear. It's a safe, polite bet.
Makes sense. Puts the focus on the situation.
Okay, what about something maybe a little more formal, but still polite?
Sure. How about, would you mind speaking a little louder?
Would you mind? Classic politeness structure.
Yeah, it's inherently courteous. Very gentle. Good for perhaps business settings or talking to somebody you don't know very well. It's deferential, but still gets the message across clearly. Okay, so we have the gentle apology-based one and the more formal request. What if it's, more casual, like talking to a friend or someone you work with closely?
Right. You probably wouldn't say, would you mind, to your buddy. For that, something like, it's a bit hard to hear you, could you speak up, works well.
More direct but friendly.
Exactly. It's a bit hard to hear, just stating the fact. Then a simple request. Because you have that existing rapport, doesn't sound rude, it feels natural.
Okay, that covers general low volume or noisy places. But what about when you didn't just find it hard to hear, you completely missed what they said? The whole sentence just flew by.
Yeah, that's a specific situation. For that, you need something slightly different, maybe. I didn't catch that. Could you say it again a little louder?
Okay, so I didn't catch that. Acknowledges you missed it entirely.
Right. You're not just asking for more volume going forward. You need a repeat of what was just said. And you're adding a little louder request for the repetition. It's very specific to that oops, missed it moment.
Got it. Admit you missed it, asked for the repeat, plus volume. Makes sense. Okay, one more scenario. The really noisy places, cafes, parties, that kind of thing, where the background sound is obviously the problem.
Yes. In that case, calling out the culprit directly is often best. Something like, there's a lot of background noise. Can you speak a bit louder, please?
That seems really effective. It makes it clear it's not them, it's the environment.
Precisely. You give a clear reason the noise. It immediately takes any pressure off the speaker and just frames it as a practical need because of the surroundings. Direct, polite, totally understandable.
So looking at all five, I'm sorry I can't hear you. Would you mind? It's hard to hear. I didn't catch that. And there's background noise. The big idea is really about having the right tool for the job.
Exactly. It's about adaptability.
Yeah, it's not just about getting louder volume. It's doing it in a way that fits the situation, respects the person, and keeps the conversation flowing. Turns a potential bump into just, a minor adjustment.
It equips you to handle those little communication hiccups gracefully, So the dialogue keeps going instead of hitting a wall.
So for you listening, just having these phrases kind of ready in your back pocket, it could really smooth things out next time you're straining to hear less awkward fumbling.
Definitely. And, it makes you think, If getting this one simple thing right, just asking someone to speak up politely, can make such a difference to the flow of a conversation.
Yeah.
What other small, seemingly minor communication tweaks might actually have a really big, maybe even surprising impact on how well we connect and understand each other? Something to mull over.
Okay, so having these 5 phrases is brilliant. It's like a whole spectrum of options depending on the situation and who you're talking to.
It really shifts that moment from potential awkwardness to just a prepared, simple interaction. You go from fumbling to just making a polite request.
Right. Now, seeing these actually used in conversation really helps cement them, doesn't it? Let's try stepping into a few quick scenarios. We can kind of role play them a little.
Good idea. Let's put them in context. First up, that classic noisy environment, the cafe.
Okay, I'll be the barista trying to be heard over the general clatter. You're the customer trying to order.
Right, got to get that coffee order correct. It's crucial.
Slightly raised voice, leaning forward. Okay, so for that latte, did you want cream or sugar with that?
Leaning in slightly. Sorry, I can't hear you very well. Could you speak up a bit?
Okay, perfect. That felt totally natural. So why did that phrase, sorry, I can't hear you very well, could you speak up a bit?
Feel right there. Well, like we said, it's polite. Sorry, very well, which is good for a quick service interaction with a stranger. And cafes are noisy, so saying, I can't hear you very well, directly relates to that shared problem in the environment. It implicitly blames the noise.
And speak up a bit is just a gentle ask.
Exactly. Polite, blames the situation, asks for a small change. Ideal for that context.
Makes total sense.
Okay.
Scenario 2, a phone call. Audio can be so iffy.
Totally. No visual cues, so the sound is everything.
Right. Let's say I'm giving you instructions. Maybe my connection's a bit fuzzy.
And I'm struggling to follow on my end.
So once you've done that, navigate over to the settings menu, and then you click on the,
Gentle interruption. It's a bit hard to hear you. Could you speak up?
Okay, pause. Why that one? It's a bit hard to hear you. Could you speak up for the phone call?
Well, phone calls often feel a bit more casual, right? Depending who it is. And that phrase is flagged as casual and friendly. It's a bit hard to hear you. It's just a simple statement of fact about the audio quality.
Just describing your experience of the call.
And could you speak up is clear, but still polite. It's efficient, friendly, gets the job done without maybe the extra formality of, would you mind? Which can feel right on a call.
Yeah, that directness feels okay when you're just trying to get information across on the phone. Okay, number 3, classroom setting. Maybe you're at the back, teacher or presenter's voice isn't quite carrying.
Right. Definite speaker-listener roles there, usually a bit more formal. I'll be the student at the back.
And you need to politely signal the volume issue.
Raising hands slightly, projecting voice. Excuse me, would you mind speaking a little louder? I'm at the back of the room.
Nice. Okay, reflecting on that. Why would you mind speaking a little louder? Plus adding the context.
Well, the phrase itself is formal and gentle. Addressing a teacher or presenter, that level of politeness feels appropriate, would you mind? Shows that respect. But adding, I'm at the back of the room, that's crucial.
Ah, explain why you're asking.
Exactly. It transforms it from just, you're too quiet, into, because of where I am, I'm having trouble hearing. It gives the speaker useful information and makes the request entirely reasonable, polite, respectful, and informative.
That context is everything there. Makes perfect sense. Okay, next one. Outside. Getting directions. Maybe it's windy, traffic noise.
Oh, yes, the elements versus communication.
Exactly. I'm giving directions.
And I'm trying to catch them over the noise.
Slightly raised voice, simulating outdoor noise.
Right, so you go down here about 2 blocks, past the post office, then take the second left.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say it again a little louder? It's quite noisy out here.
Perfect. Okay, I didn't catch that. Can you say it again a little louder? Feel right,
Yeah.
especially with adding the bit about the noise.
Because the wind or a passing car probably made me miss just a specific part of the directions, right? Like the street name or the number. I didn't catch that. Signals. I missed that specific chunk.
Focuses on the lost info. Yeah. And then, can you say it again a little louder? Asks for that bit to be repeated, with the necessary volume boost to cut through the obvious noise. Adding, it's noisy, just reinforces why I missed it again, blaming the environment. It's efficient for getting that specific missing piece.
Spot on for when you just missed one crucial detail due to a sudden noise. Okay, last one. The online meeting. Unique challenges there.
Oh yeah, background noise galore, mic issues, lag, the works.
Okay, I'm trying to lead the meeting.
And I'm a participant. Maybe there's some static on your end or someone else has noise. I can't quite hear you clearly.
Okay, team, let's move on to agenda item 3, which covers the Q2 projections and...
Excuse me, there's some background noise. Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Right. Why does that phrase, naming the background noise, work so well for online meetings?
Because background noise is such a common, often shared problem on calls. It could be their noise, someone else's noise, even noise on my end interfering. So, stating there's some background noise is a really diplomatic way to identify that shared digital space issue.
Yeah, avoids making it personal about their voice volume.
Totally. It frames it as an audio quality issue inherent to the medium sometimes. The please keeps it courteous for that group or professional setting.
That's really effective. It names the probable cause diplomatically and asks for the fix. So going through these role plays really shows how each phrase fits, doesn't it? It's not just theoretical.
Yeah, you see them in action, and they start to feel much more like actual tools you could just pick up and use.
Okay, so now it's your turn, listener. Let's put you in the situation mentally. We'll describe a scenario, you pause and think. Which phrase feels right here? Just imagining it helps lock it in.
Yeah, picture yourself there. Which tool comes to mind?
Okay, first one. You're grabbing coffee with a friend, it's louder in there than usual today, and you keep missing bits of their story across the small table. Which phrase feels natural? Right, noisy cafe talking to a friend. You want to be friendly but still get them to speak up over the din. What feels right?
Well, you've got a couple of good options, probably. Sorry, I can't hear you very well. Could you speak up a bit? This is always politely safe, even with friends, and directly mentions the hearing difficulty.
Or you could go more casual, maybe.
Yeah, with a friend, it's a bit hard to hear, could you speak up? Right. Could also work really well. It's more direct, less formal. It kind of depends on your dynamic with that friend, but both get the job done politely.
Good point. Sometimes there's overlap.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Work video call. It's with a few people you don't know that well. One person is speaking really softly, and you're straining to hear through your laptop speakers. So, work context, people you don't know well. Politeness and professionalism are probably key here.
Definitely. In that case, the more formal and gentle option is usually a good bet. So, would you mind speaking a little louder? Fits really well. The would you mind structure is inherently courteous.
Yeah, it feels respectful for that kind of professional setting.
Exactly. It addresses the volume clearly, but very politely.
Okay, final practice situation. You're at, say, an evening class or a community workshop. Sitting near the back, the instructor's voice is naturally quiet, and you're missing key bits of information. Pause. Similar to the classroom scenario we acted out. Structured setting, need to hear, but want to be polite to the person leading.
Right. Again, politeness is important. A good option here could be, could you speak a bit louder, please? It's direct, but softened by a bit and please. It feels appropriate for many class or workshop settings.
Maybe add context, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Adding something like, I'm finding it a bit tricky to hear from the back, makes it even better, just like in the role play. It explains why you're asking. It's practical and polite.
Excellent. So just thinking through those helps make these phrases feel less like things on a list and more like actual responses you could give.
And that really gets to the heart of why this matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, because asking someone to speak up or repeat really doesn't need to be this awkward dance we sometimes make it. It's normal. And having these tools makes it easy.
It's about moving from that hesitant, what, to a smooth, confident, polite request. And the payoff is huge, just clearer communication everywhere, fewer misunderstandings.
Actually getting the information you need, not having to guess or pretend you're heard, feeling more connected in the conversation.
And these specific phrases work so well because of how they're framed, like we discussed. They're polite. They often shift the blame to the situation, not the person. Just smooths the interaction.
It really is okay to ask. You just need the right words. Keep it friendly, polite, and don't hesitate to ask for what you need to hear clearly. These phrases give you exactly that.
They turn that potential little moment of friction into just a simple, successful communication adjustment. Better for everyone involved.
So there you have it. You're now armed with some really practical, effective tools for a super common, sometimes surprisingly tricky communication moment. 5 distinct phrases, why they work, when to use them.
The next time you find yourself leaning in, straining, thinking, wait, what did they say? You won't be stuck. You have an answer ready.
And here's a final thought to maybe chew on. Just think about how many small moments of frustration or confusion these simple phrases could help you avoid every single day. Just Pay attention over the next week or so. How often does a situation pop up in a shop, on a call, chatting with someone, in a meeting where you realize, I could use one of those phrases right now.
Just noticing the opportunities and knowing you have a good, polite option ready can actually change how you feel going into those conversations.
Don't wait for some big, important moment. Try one out the next time a low-stakes chance comes up. See how it feels.
You'll probably find it feels pretty good to just get the clarity you need smoothly.
Exactly. You're not being demanding. You're just making sure communication actually works. And that helps everyone. So don't forget to subscribe to Daily Easy English Talk so you don't miss our next show.
Yeah, please do. And share it with your friends if you found it helpful.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.